Welcome to part 8, aka the finale of Kirby's adventure. And Kirby managed to reconstruct the Star Rod, but King DDD is begging him not to put it back in the Fountain of Dreams because something is clearly up. So Kirby, he puts the fountain back, everything seems fine, but then suddenly this dark force comes out of nowhere, and now they're both panicking because uh, yeah, it turns out there was a nightmare inside that spring, and King DDD decided to break the Star Rod in order to keep him trapped inside the fountain. And when Kirby reconstructed the Star Rod, it ended up freeing the nightmare. So now that's basically the plot. So this is the true final boss. This is the nightmare. Uh, this is another difficult fight, I'd say. I don't think it's the most difficult fight. I don't think it's quite as challenging as King DDD, but he's still pretty difficult. And this is also the only level where you can use the Star Rod, which you probably might... Go ahead.
I love the little artwork for it.
Yeah, how Kirby just has a witch hat on for some reason.
Yes. You look so happy.
Very happy. I think the most annoying attack from this fight is the stars that he shoots in several directions. But yeah. Anyway, there we go. I beat the first phase, and now I'm chasing him, and we're going to the moon.
To the moon!
Yep. And this final boss theme is pretty intense. I love it. In fact, I think it sounds better in the 8-bit version than it does in the GBA remake, personally. I just love the intensity of it, with that bombastic beat, you know?
Yes.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. So this is the final battle with Nightmare. He's also the main antagonist in the Kirby anime, Nightmare and Kirby Right Back at Ya. Although for some reason, at least in the English dub, I think he's called NME for some reason, which I really don't get. And I'm just like, I don't care what the anime says. He will always he will always be called Nightmare to me because that's what he's canonically called. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's still called Nightmare in the original Japanese version of the anime as well. So yeah. But the only way to go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, is Kirby Right Back at Ya canon? I doubt it is.
I don't think it's canon personally, but a lot of elements from it do make it their way into canon. For example, Escargoon makes a cameo in Kirby Mass Attack, and the water copy ability, which debuted in the anime, would later make a playable appearance in Kirby's Return to Dreamland for the Wii. So yeah, I do really wish that anime would get. I really wish that anime would get a proper release though from Nintendo, like release the complete series on Blu-ray or DVD. You know, because they do it with the. I'm sure they did it with the Pokemon anime several times. So why not re-release the Kirby anime as well? You know.
Yeah.
Like I don't care if it's subbed or dubbed. I just want all. I just want to be able to I just want access to all 100 episodes. Especially since recently, Nintendo has been blocking a lot of the full episodes uploaded to YouTube. So I really hope they have a good reason for doing so besides just protecting the property. I hope they'll re-release the complete series so that people can purchase the series from them. You know.
Yeah, that would be good, cause I don't know what channel it aired on here, but I didn't have the channel, so when I watched it, it was because my dad pirated it.
Ah, okay.
So I didn't see all the episodes, I could only see some of them, and in low quality.
Ah, okay. Also, I love this ending theme. It's very beautiful.
It is.
Because it really makes me feel that I reached the end of this long journey and that everything's gonna be alright now, you know?
Whoa, that was an epic throw.
Yep. So now dreams are coming back to everybody, all thanks to Kirby and King DDD's heroic efforts. And look at that. Kirby's waving bye because this is the end of his adventure.
Oh.
And here are the credits. The credits just mostly show footage of the previous bosses. Oh my god, Satoru Iwata was a producer. I tell you, every time I see Satoru Iwata's name in the credits, it makes me sad because, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, did you notice that Masahiro Sakurai was in the credits as well?
Yes.
Yeah, because as you know, Masahiro Sakurai, a lot of people know him as the creator of Super Smash Bros., but he's also the creator of Kirby. But unlike Super Smash Bros., which he worked on all of them, he only worked on a select few Kirby games, because after Kirby Air Ride and technically The Amazing Mirror, he was done working on Kirby games. In fact, I think he left HAL Laboratory at that point. So
I love the HAL Laboratories logo with the dog sitting on the nest of eggs.
Oh, I know you do. But yeah, that was Kirby's Adventure for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This is my favorite game on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Is it my favorite Kirby game, period? Not really, but it is in my top 5 for sure. This is definitely the most important game to me, as someone who played a lot of video games growing up.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Like, that's the end. Also, the credits, the ending theme loops. And look at that! I unlocked Extra Game, which is basically, the hard mode in which the health bar is cut in half. And also, I'm going into the sound test, which is actually something you get for clearing Extra Mode, because listen to the song that you can unlock. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a remix of the title screen theme from Kirby's Dreamland.
That's so cool.
It's the only time in the game you can actually hear it, so that's why I thought it was worth showing off.
Yes, it's like a hidden thing. You wouldn't think to find it in there.
Yep. But anyway, that's it. That's Kirby's Adventure. Continuing off from my final thoughts. Yeah, I love this game so much. It's the main reason why I love video games. I still remember when I was a kid, I would always get excited every time I would have Kirby go through a new door to see what's on the other side, to see what other new things I can see. And then when I learned about the copy abilities, I got even happier because the game was more fun than I remember it being as well. And the music is just phenomenal. Like, my favorite soundtrack in the Kirby series, and one of my favorite video game soundtracks of all time. Like, top 5, maybe top 3. It's just that good in my opinion. And oh my god, when the Kirby 25th Anniversary Orchestra did some music for it, it just made me even happier. Every time music from Kirby's Adventure makes a comeback in a modern Kirby game, or just in general, it really warms my heart because it reminds me of back when I was a kid and why I love video games to begin with, you know?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. It's my favorite game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, but in fact, I still have the copy that I played on my grandfather's NES to this very day, because at one point I actually asked him if I could take it home with me just to hold on to it for the sake of memories and whatnot, and he said yes, and that's why I have it even to this very day.
That's awesome.
Yep. And I hold it very, very close to my heart. I love it so much, and a part of me does want to see it get yet another remake, even though we already have a remake of it for the Game Boy Advance called Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. And that's definitely the better version of the game, since it controls smoother and has better graphics and extra content, like the ability to play as Meta Knight. As well as multiplayer, albeit only local multiplayer. But, since it's a Game Boy Advance game, that means it requires, that link cable and multiple copies of the game,
Yeah.
And that's definitely the version I would recommend above all else. But I would still, but I do still, but I would still recommend the NES version as well, even if I do think the the remake is better. I actually prefer the way the soundtrack sounds in the NES version because, nostalgia, and that's just how important the game's soundtrack is to me. But I still think the music sounds great in the GBA remake as well. I especially love the rendition they do of Butter Building in that game, so yeah. So yeah, Kirby's Adventure, fantastic game. I'm like a broken record, but that's just how much I love the game. I need to break this repetition. So, so Michelle, final thoughts. What did you think of Kirby's Adventure from what you've played and seen?
I think it's really good. From what I've played, I had a much harder time than you, but that doesn't mean it's bad necessarily. I like
know.
that there isn't too much backtracking. There aren't too many like secrets and decisions you have to make that like we talked about this before, where if you go through a door you can't go back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I hate that.
Yeah, although that's not really an issue in, the regular Kirby games that are stage to stage. That's mostly a problem in Kirby and the Amazing Mirror because that game is a Metroidvania which encourages nonlinear exploration. So, yeah.
Right, yeah. Well, I'm glad that it does not have that.
So it is written. I mean,
Yes.
granted, actually, well, to be honest, the Kirby games still have, one-way doors, but again, those are generally not really a problem because again, they're linear stage-to-stage levels rather than and Metroidvanias that are with open worlds that are easy to get lost in, especially if you don't have a map,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And what did you think of the soundtrack?
The soundtrack is very pretty. I think I guess overall, like you said, it's really, really solid. I don't think there's a song that I didn't like on there.
Really? Not even
Yeah.
the final boss theme.
Yeah, I still like the final boss theme.
Yeah. What can I say? I love every single song in that entire game. That's why it's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Let's see. What was I gonna say? Uh, hmm. Uh, so was there anything about the game that you weren't a fan of, out of curiosity, from what you remember playing?
I don't know. Nothing, not specifically. I mean, I guess it was just kind of annoying when it would lag a little bit, but
yeah,
that wasn't that often.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I don't think it impacted the overall gameplay that much.
All right.
Otherwise, I wish there were more like copy abilities, but it's also like it's a much earlier Kirby games. It's not really fair to compare it against what we have now.
Yes, I will agree that Planet Robobots is the better game, and heck, even I think I even prefer Star Allies over Kirby's Adventure because I think the combat is a lot more fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
As well as having the most playable characters in the entire series. But
Right.
I still love Kirby's Adventure. Out of all the old school Kirby games, it's my personal favorite. Especially the Game Boy Advance remake, but I still love the NES game because nostalgia. But anyway, at this point, I think I'm just repeating myself at this point. So yeah, that was our little commentary of Kirby's Adventure. I want to thank one of my best friends, Michelle, for joining me for this commentary. So thank you, Michelle.
No problem. It was fun.
Yeah.
And I got to see more of the game than I would have seen on my own.
Yeah, because I know you got stuck on Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright at the end of Butter Building. So yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, that was the commentary of Kirby's Adventure. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your night, and take care. Later.